What is going on, guys? It's your boy ShadyMikeGaming, and welcome to another NBA 2K21 signature shot. Today we're going to be working on the point god himself. That's Chris Paul. Really excited to bring this one to you guys. It is fire. It's awesome to be able to bring this to you guys right in the middle of this awesome Suns playoff run. They're having an awesome push through the West. So, you know, perfect timing for a video like this. Hopefully that algorithm can bless us. Guys, if you like the signature shots, please do like the video, subscribe for more, and we're gonna get to work on this one. This is fire. Now, I want to give a special shout out to a modder named Noob May Cry for this Chris Paul cyberface. As you can see, it's extremely high quality. It's extremely awesome, and if any of you guys want to download it, I'll make sure the link is in the description. So one thing I wanted to say about the channel, especially because we do have a lot of new subscribers here as of late, we do our jump shots and our signature shots a little bit differently. You'll notice a lot of jump shot and signature shot videos are 2 to 3 minutes. Ours are usually anywhere from 10 to 20 because we go very in depth. So for those of you that like those details, we talk through everything. It's a full signature edit. For those of you that don't, we do have the timestamps in the description so that you guys can get to where you need to get to. But for today, we're going to take a look at Chris Paul. Guys, I want to say with this jump shot here, Chris Paul was one that didn't need a lot, but he needed a little bit because we really need to make sure he's playing accurately because he's one of the best point guards of all time. A lot of people took a crack at Chris Paul, and I just felt like there were some very minor details that some of the other signature shot makers were missing. So I tried to capture them as best as I could, and I think we did a really good job of capturing his game. Now, Chris Paul is a player that does have a quote-unquote mo-capped jump shot in the game. Now, if you don't know or are new to the channel, we often find that the mo-capped jumpers aren't actually mo-capped, and well, if they are, well, 2K might need a new machine, and I would say Chris Paul definitely falls into that category here. So what we're looking at here is the default jumper. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to talk about why we hate it, and then we're going to try and fix it. So as you look at the default jumper, you're going to take a look at his shot stance. He definitely has a pretty moderate dip, not significant, but I realized right off the rip, and a lot of people got stuck with this dip thing. Everyone was saying, oh, use base 51, use base 51. Chris Paul has a dip. Chris Paul does that. Not really anymore, actually. I found that he really has a dip in his Clippers footage, but not recently in Rockets or Suns footage. So I do want to say that they did a few things right, just in the sense that it's like, when you look for some details for CP3, yes, he does have a high release. His elbow does point upwards like this, but not that much, obviously. And when he does a release, his hands do go to the right. If I can get my camera right, they do go to the right of his body. So those were like a few small details that they did capture, but just not well. The base is not terrible at all. I think the base could definitely be used for a CP3, maybe for the Clippers. I like that he's got a little dip here. I like that his legs sway through, and we're going to keep up with that same concept. It's not a terrible base at all. I don't like his feet. I don't see him doing this bow-legged thing, and I think his knees might be too close together, so I don't like that. But the base that we chose has similar characteristics, and we did try to model it after that, in terms of capturing that sway. So let's go ahead and take a look into our signature shot, and we can talk about why we chose what we chose. All right, so as we take a look at Chris Paul, let's talk about the non-negotiables and the things that we're trying to accomplish with Paul's base. Again, not a lot going on here. He does kind of have that right foot in front of the left. He does have a decent, I would say moderate amount of space in between both of his legs. He does kind of shoot with, on his toes. But the number one thing about the base, I'm not gonna lie, this is the easiest signature shot we've done. He elevates and then his legs sway through the shot. Chris Paul is one of those guys that does have a pretty noticeable sway in his jump shot. That means his legs, regardless of where they start, if they start behind his body, they do end up in front of his body by the time his jump shot is completed. So when we're taking a look at that sway motion, like I said, we want those legs to be spread apart. You want him to elevate, and then you do want those legs, if you just freeze frame it, you just want to make sure those legs come through the front of the body. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. We are not trying to nitpick here, but that is just a detail that heavily impacts the look and the athleticism of the jumper. Next, we move on to the release. The number one thing about the release is the release point and his shooting elbow. His shooting elbow is going to be facing upwards and pointing upwards. So when you kind of take this angle here, you want to make sure that elbow, if we can get a better angle, you want to make sure that elbow is pointing upwards and that offhand is just, you know, on the side of the ball, kind of wraps around the top. Now, really important thing about this angle, because this seems like the most simple release, and it is simple. Yes, the ball is going to be above his head, pretty much directly above that hairline with that elbow pointing upwards. Now, there's one more detail that we have to capture, and it's just odd, but this is where people got caught. Once CP3 shoots the ball, there's two things that need to happen. Number one, his shooting fingers point downwards. We talk a lot about kind of reaching into a cookie jar. We say that shooting hand, those shooting fingers are pointing at the ground. And that's the shooting hand. The offhand kind of goes to the right side of his face, even though that's not where his release starts. He shoots through the center of his face, but towards the end of the shot, it ends to the right of his face. And what we notice in CP3's release, or the end of it rather, is his hands are extremely close together, and that's the detail that we want to capture. As we zoom in, let's take a look at all of our non-negotiables. Yes, that elbow is pointing upwards. It's not crazy, it's a high release, but it's not behind his head. And watch as that shot comes through. I'm gonna have to move the camera to get off the ball here. Watch his hands. See how close together they are, and see the location. They are now on the right side of his face. And that is one detail. I don't know, maybe people didn't care about it, maybe people didn't want to capture it, maybe people didn't know how to capture it, but that is a big detail on the shot. And then you see those shooting fingers, you can freeze frame it right there. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that motion, you know, for his fingers to be pointed at the ground. No, again, this is not like the most crazy jump shot that we've done, but we really wanted to capture all of those details. It's very simple. It's a great looking jump shot. It has served CP3 well for a long time, and we captured it perfectly here. That's the jump shot. Remember, this is a full signature edit. So now we're going to go into the menu. Let's take a look at everything else, from his handles to his step backs, moving jumpers, and everything else. All right, guys, so as we look at CP3, we're going to go with the Kobe Bryant base. Guys, I was torn. I was looking at this for a week between the Kobe Bryant base and base 63. Both very similar, both very accurate. He does them both, but I went with the Kobe Bryant base. If for whatever reason you don't like it, well, that would just be weird if you didn't, because it's accurate. But if you wanted something different for some reason, base 63 is a nice alternate, but ultimately I found that the Kobe Bryant base was a little bit more accurate. The Karl-Anthony Towns upper release, what that does is that gives you that exaggerated wrist motion. It has his fingers pointing downwards as if he was reaching into a cookie jar, blended to 30 with release 22. That's the one that makes him have the accurate hand placement after the shot is completed. I don't love that he holds the follow through with two hands, but you guys know me, I go for accuracy, and so these were the two releases that had both of those characteristics, and that's why I blended them that way. The release timing is very slow. As you guys saw in the game, the release looks fine. The timing is fine, the shot is very quick, but for some reason the Kobe Bryant base is extremely sped up. So like even at normal, it was way too fast. Slow is way too fast. It just doesn't look right unless you go with very slow. So we're gonna move on to his moving jump shots now. For the dribble pull up, I went with athletic 7. I do apologize, that was wrong. It was at 8. It's athletic 7. The reason it's athletic 7 is for one reason and one reason only. Chris Paul, when he's going to his right, has kind of an exaggerated shot, and he kicks that right leg. That is his iconic mid-range elbow pull-up, and that's athletic 7 has that most accurate shot going to the right. That was the only thing that I was focused on. The spin jumper is something he does a lot. We go with normal 9 because what that does is it adds a significant fade to his shot. He leans back significantly when he does the spin jumper. Chris Paul is one of the few players that often does a spin jumper, so that we were able to find enough footage of it so that we can accurately replicate it. Now we go with hop jumper normal 15. Now, for whatever reason, even though Chris Paul does a lot of mid-range jump shots and things of that nature, he does not often do step backs. Normal 15 is a carbon copy of his step back. I was very happy that we were able to find this. It's very accurate to what we've seen from CP3. For the layup package, we do go with default small. Very simple here. Every time Chris Paul does a layup, he's doing an underhanded scoop layup. I believe the default Chris Paul it's like an underhanded finger roll, I would say. Now, the default Chris Paul, I believe, has the Steph Curry layup package. And while the form is accurate, I just don't like that he tosses the ball 6 feet in the air. It's not accurate to what we've seen. So we go with default small. As you can see, it's got a lot of those underhanded base layups that we see CP3 do all the time. So that's why we go with default small. Now for the dunk package, I have not seen Chris Paul dunk. I've seen him dunk in the All-Star game, but in game I did not see him dunk in Phoenix. I did not see him dunk in Houston. I saw him dunk last for the Clippers. So for me, that is enough to say we are not going to have a dunk package here. It's not something that he does. For the post game, I could not find footage of Chris Paul doing fades and things of that nature, but I did change almost every one of these animations. The reason we changed them is to match kind of the animations and the trends that we see from his step backs, spin jumpers and things of that nature. So I did pretty much the same thing. I was looking to find where he had an exaggerated fade and was kicking that right leg. So that's the reason I went with the ones that we went with. As you go over to the handle, now we're gonna have a whole bunch of options here for CP3. Dribble style, we're not changing. I really like Chris Paul. Now Chris Paul does have his own signature size up, and I think it's very accurate. I had seen him do the Steve Nash as well. I thought for his quicker crossovers, Steve Nash was very accurate. But for me, just in terms of his setup dribble, I felt the most comfortable with the Ben Simmons signature size up. This is not necessarily when he's looking to cross somebody out of their shoes, but it was when he was looking to set up a step back or a mid-range jump shot. I felt like the Ben Simmons signature size up was something we saw frequently. All right, and that's it, guys. That's going to do it for CP3. Future Mike here. I've already finished editing this video, and just as we finish, we find out CP3 is tested positive for coronavirus and is out indefinitely. Hopefully, he can get better soon and get back to tearing up the league like he's been doing. Always appreciate watching his game. Guys, thank you so much for all the support. Be sure to let me know in the comment section who you guys would like for me to work on next. Really appreciate all the support. Be sure to follow me on all of my social networks at ShadyMikeGaming on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/ShadyMikeGaming, and consider becoming a member of our YouTube channel. Be sure also to join the 2K Modding Society Discord for more modding content. Again, the modded cyberface for CP3 is going to be in the description of this video. Other than that, guys, thank you so much again for the support. I am signing out. Peace. Threes.